What is going on in Boise, Idaho? Is it just some farming town with a bunch of potatoes? Well, I know that people used to think that, but do they still think that today? Because Boise is booming. I'm talking about the whole Treasure Valley, Meridian, Eagle, Star, Nampa. We're seeing it all over the place in southern Idaho. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this video. How has Boise changed? Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's your host Dave Baker here with your Moving to Boise, Idaho team. Now, if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything about what it is like in Boise, Idaho, what's it like to live there, what's it like to sleep there, to eat, to go out, to visit the surrounding areas, well then you have got to tap that little subscribe button and click that little bell, because then you will be notified each time I put out a video all about the Treasure Valley. Now, if you are thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho, or any, again, of these surrounding great suburbs like Meridian and like Eagle, like Star, then you have got to reach out to us, because I'm always talking to people about Boise, about southern Idaho, and now is a time when we're seeing so many people move there. There's just so much interest. So make sure that you send us a text message, you can write us an email, or you can click the link below to schedule a Zoom call. You can even call us directly on the phone 24/7, because we are here to help you with your move to Boise, Idaho. When you're ready to relocate, the Moving to Boise team is ready to help. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my own experience and what I saw. A few years ago, I was looking at moving up to the Northwest, and I was looking at a couple different places, and I heard people telling me about this one city. Now, originally, I was looking at places in Seattle and their suburbs. I was looking at the Portland area, in Oregon, a lot of cities there that are really interesting in the Northwest. And I heard people say, hey, have you ever heard of this city called Meridian, Idaho? And I said, maybe. I don't think so. Well, one person said to me, it's one of the fastest growing cities. People are flocking up there. So then, of course, I started to do my research, and I saw that Meridian, Idaho is, of course, a suburb of Boise. And I noticed that there was a lot of development going on, but not so much that it was taking it to the level of a place where I might want to buy a home. So as time went on, I watched a little more. And then there was a point that came where all of a sudden, it seemed like everything just started changing. All of a sudden, Idaho was the talk of the country. Now, when you think of Idaho, you probably think of things like potatoes. Of course, you have the world famous Idaho potato. You have snow. People think of northern Idaho, right? Remember, northern Idaho is where you're going to see some snow. That would be like up by Coeur d'Alene. And it's not what I thought it was going to be. And that is a good thing. So that's why I want to talk to you today about how Boise has changed. The whole area has changed. Southern Idaho has changed so much from when I was a kid and from when I first thought of moving somewhere. It is incredible. When I first went up there, I had some expectations that were met. Okay, when I first got to the airport, for example, I thought, okay, it's going to be some tiny little airport and there won't be that many people there, and it'll be really easy to get around. So what happened was, I got there, and it's actually a decent sized airport, but there weren't a lot of people there, which was great for me, because as a traveler, you don't really want to be bogged down where it's really hard. I mean, have you ever flown out of LAX or LaGuardia or one of those huge airports? Have you been to the Chicago airports? Wow, there are so many people there. But here's the thing. Some of these expectations that were met are things that I was actually hoping to see. For example, when I first drove in Idaho, again in southern Idaho, there wasn't any traffic. And I remember this time I went there with my wife, and I said, oh, honey, it's rush hour. Let's see what's going to happen. We get in the car and we go, and wow, it was such a treat. And immediately I felt this peaceful feeling because I didn't feel that hustle bustle, that rush to get somewhere, like you have to leave 2 hours early just to go to dinner 5 miles away. Maybe that's a little extreme. Maybe you have to leave an hour early in some place where you live, but being in that relaxed environment immediately felt amazing. And that is something that I was looking for. So that's just one of the small things that I was expecting, and that came to be true. But what I was also expecting was something that I had heard about many years ago, like it's just this place with all these farms. And let me tell you, it's not like that anymore. Now, of course, there are farms in Idaho. And the further you go out from the cities, or the city, I should say, the more likely you are to see farmland and to see cattle and to see corn growing or other crops that are growing. And if that's what you're looking for, that's actually still available. So for someone who wants to get some land, for example, if you live in a townhouse right now or a condo where you only have a balcony, well, getting some land would be amazing. I don't mean you need 10 acres. You might just want to have some space where you have a jacuzzi in your backyard, or you want to have a swing set or just something so you have some space to stretch out. So that's still out there. Now, when you drive 20 or 30 miles outside of Boise, yes, of course, it's going to be more sparse. I mean, but the same goes for a lot of places. If you drive 30 to 50 miles outside of Las Vegas, guess what? It's just a desert. Oh, and as a quick reminder, don't forget that Boise and the whole Treasure Valley is a desert, okay? It's not a mountainous area. It's not like Coeur d'Alene up in the north. It is a desert. It's not heavily forested either. So if you're looking to go hiking in the forest and things like that, you will have to drive a little bit. But fortunately, that's still available. So it is in the region, it does exist. So here's one of the biggest changes that I've noticed from talking to people and just from looking at photographs. It's incredible. The growth is everywhere. There is so much growth going on in both commercial and residential, but the amount of residential development is I can't even get it out. It's off the chart. So when I was looking for a place up there and I was driving around, I would see sign after sign after sign of new development coming. We've got new subdivisions, new houses. You had some that were still really big, actually. Like, we're talking really nicely sized houses, 3,000 square feet plus, with big backyards. They have houses on ponds, which I think that's really cool. It's a nice touch to have the water view outside your own back window. But the amount of residential growth is amazing. And of course, a few small hiccups come with that, right? You will have a little traffic as some roads close here and there, but I still didn't see major traffic. What really got my attention was how many people are moving there. So when I was looking at these new developments, I would see, of course, signs with new homes for sale. There were lots for sale. There were builders that were advertising that they could build you homes. There are a lot of local builders up there. So remember, when you contact us, if there's talk of buying a new home that's being built, you might not recognize the builder's name, of course, because you have different builders than in your state. But what was shocking to me, and this is how I knew that the whole Boise region was really growing. When I would contact the builders about the vacant land and say, oh, what plans do you have available? What can I build there? What kind of great house can I get? They would say, oh, no, we're sold out. And I'd say, sold out? I'd say, I'm at the development, I'm looking around, and all I see is all these open lots. And they said, oh yeah, no, we sold all those. Those are done. We're already under contract. We're building houses out there. And I was just blown away by that. And so that was immediately telling me, wow, the amount of growth here and the number of people is just incredible what's happening. Now, you're starting from a lower population. Remember that. You're not starting with 5 million people and then watching it grow to 6 million people. You might be starting with 200,000 people and watching it grow to soon probably 300,000 or more people. But that's a big increase. Okay, think about that. That's like a 50% increase in the population. But the good thing is I also saw new commercial development. And that means that you have new restaurants, you have some new shopping centers. I think of over in Eagle, some of the new shopping centers that I see the signs up for, some new markets and other stores. Now, fortunately, if you go up there, you don't have to worry that you're going to be far from all these different things. What's nice is that in Meridian, Idaho, you already have the Villages at Meridian, which is just a lot of shopping and services and things that you might need. It's a really nice mall. And there are additional malls as well in Boise and strip malls and all kinds of stores. So don't worry. And the reason I bring this up is because I used to be concerned that if I moved somewhere that was developing or growing, I might have to drive 20 miles to a supermarket or something like that. And as someone who enjoys convenience, I think that would not be a pleasure for me. So don't worry, it is nicely developed. So who's buying all these houses? And what is driving this change in Boise? Well, it's the people coming from out of state. That's what it is. Some people are coming from out of state, like, for example, moving from California to Idaho. The people who are moving from California to Idaho seem to have more funds available to purchase a house. So they are causing the home prices to increase. I mean, just imagine this. Imagine if someone in California buys a house for a few $100,000 and all of a sudden it's worth twice as much. They can sell that house, they can take their profit, and they can go buy a new house. It is having an effect on the locals because local people are being driven out because houses aren't $200,000 anymore. So the out-of-state transplants are definitely changing the pricing, but that doesn't mean they're changing the culture of the neighborhood. Because I hear a lot of talk about people saying things like, don't California my Idaho. It's an expression you hear. I've seen bumper stickers that say that. I've actually seen little no signs, the prohibited sign with the state of California featured inside of it. But I think a lot of people are moving there to become Idahoan. They're moving there to appreciate and live in the community. And that's what's nice. You'll be able to have new neighbors, new points of view, but also preserve the beauty and what makes Idaho so great. So you really do have people actually moving in from all over the country, because I see people writing on social media that they're moving from the East Coast or the North or the Midwest, and they're moving over there. And I was surprised to see how many times the word Idaho came up when I was doing searches about other people moving. So that's a big change. It's not just filled with people who are locals, who are born and raised in the area. So now, on top of that, I think when people first think about moving to Boise, they just look for Boise, Idaho, or Boise if you're just coming in. Now, don't forget, when you get there, you're going to start calling it Boise like the locals. But what you'll see, and make sure to mention this when you send us a text message, when you email us or schedule your call, that you might be interested in living in the suburbs, because the suburbs are actually really nice and there's a lot of space available. So let me rephrase that. The pace of life is even easier than Boise because you've got, you don't have so many tall buildings. You actually don't see very many tall buildings once you leave the city. You see a few. There's one mid-sized building being built in Eagle, but you don't see high rises, right? I mean, Boise is the capital, so of course you're going to have tall buildings. But I love Eagle, Idaho. It's really nice. The prices there have definitely gone up, but it's really beautiful there, and you've got some fun stuff going on. You've of course got Eagle has its own little downtown, which we're going to talk about that probably in a separate video because I want to highlight that. And of course you have Meridian, which I already mentioned, was already booming. Meridian was already growing before I even really started going up there. But for me, like when I was looking for a place, I was looking for something that is not in the city. It's a little bit in a suburb, and within say 10 to 20 miles, where I could still have a local main street, because I like to go down to the local main street, or what some people might call downtown, even though it only has 10 or 20 stores, and enjoy the local feel, not have any traffic, get to go out to local places, meet your neighbors. It's nice when you go somewhere and everybody knows your name, places like that. But one other thing I want to mention, since I said suburbs, there are actually a lot of great neighborhoods in Boise, which aren't suburbs in the sense that they are separate cities, but they're just different developments, right? Like Harris Ranch, for example, that's not a separate city from Boise, but it's outside of the downtown core area. So even if you live in Boise, it's not like you're living in some big downtown. You're not going to live in a high-rise building unless you want to. There are condos available. And the cool thing about the condos and some townhouses down there in the downtown area is they're very walkable. So if you just want to walk outside and get dinner and go get coffee, get lunch, well, I guess you could cram some work in between coffee, lunch, and dinner, then you can live downtown. There is an option for that. And if that's the lifestyle you're looking for, again, just make sure to mention that when you contact us. So let's round this out a little. What does all of that mean? Okay, so we just mentioned a few different things. You have many people moving from other states, often called out-of-state transplants. You have growth in residential, meaning there are many new developments. And you have commercial growth, meaning you have new stores, you have new services available. Little things need to become available, right? Like a dentist, a spa, those types of things. And you're starting to see farmland being converted into housing areas. So what does all that affect? The price, okay? So yes, one big change in Boise and I think almost all of the surrounding cities is that you have seen price increases. The first time I thought of moving up there, I was looking at homes in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. Well, by the time I got to buy my own place, it had gone up significantly. Now, I will say that obviously I waited a few years from the very first time I ever considered it to the times I went there to the times I actually decided to buy. But what's happened in the last year or two is you've really seen a pickup in the pricing. In fact, I can think of some homes I've seen go from $500,000 to $900,000. I've seen homes go from $400,000 to $700,000 in the same neighborhoods. Now that doesn't mean prices are just going to go up forever, and that doesn't mean there's not something in your budget. Because obviously I look at housing all the time. I'm always looking at homes for sale, what's coming on the market, what's sitting on the market, and there are still options in the surrounding neighborhoods in the $200,000 range, but that's going to be further out. I think that budget isn't really going to give you very many options at all. In the $400,000 to $500,000 price range, there are more options. And if you can go above that, again, that could open more doors, so to speak. So, like many places, when you live in the actual downtown, which there aren't that many places there, that's going to be one of the highest priced neighborhoods. Next, you'll have the just surrounding area where you're just outside the downtown, but maybe it's a little bit walkable. That will see a lower price. Now, as you go out to the east, you're going to go into more cities, right? You'll enter Garden City. Then from there, you'll have Eagle. Of course, you'll have Star, Nampa, Kuna, and Middleton. Well, the further out you go, and as you choose different cities, you're going to have different price ranges available. So there are houses and townhouses that are available in many price ranges. As I mentioned, Eagle is one of the more expensive neighborhoods. There's no question about that. And if you're willing to go further out, for example, you want to go out to Middleton or maybe Kuna, then you might have some lower priced options, but still have a great city. It's interesting how many people I've actually heard talk about Eagle. When I first was looking at going up to the whole Treasure Valley, and again, remember the Treasure Valley includes these cities that I'm mentioning. If I said, well, I was looking in Eagle, people would say, oh yeah, Eagle, oh, I know that city, yeah. And I was a little bit shocked. I said, oh yeah, it's a really nice city. It turns out it is a nice city, and it has a little bit higher price, of course. Interestingly, if you want to be right next to Eagle, you can consider Star, Idaho, which is adjacent to Eagle. It actually has a few of its own stores. It's got a little bit of commerce there, and of course you can just drive right next door to Eagle. It's not a big journey. And there are some bicycle paths. Someone had asked me that, can I bike anywhere? I said, yeah, you can. There are some options for that too. You also have that beautiful Boise Greenbelt, which you can travel along if that's convenient for you. So this is something to think about. Like, for example, when you contact us is, do you already have a specific place in mind? Or do you just have an idea of what you want? So do you have the idea that you want to be really close to the city for some reason, you need to work there, or you'd have to be in Boise proper, or could you be 5 miles away or 3 miles away? Or do you actually want to live in a suburb? Do you want to live close to the Boise River? Do you have a specific interest that gets your attention? For example, maybe you want to be really close to the bicycle parks. There are some cool bike parks there, I have to say. When I first went there, I happen to like bicycling. I'm not going to be an adventure bicyclist. I don't want to go off a bunch of jumps, but I know people like that. And that's something that, maybe if you have kids, you want to live close to something like that. You want to be conveniently located next to a large park. And interestingly, these aren't confirmed, but I saw some new parks potentially on an agenda somewhere. I don't know what's going to be built. Of course, things change in the development process. But overall, I feel like the growth there has been nice because you're seeing new buildings, new stores, and new houses. There's actually opportunity to get really recently built houses. Now, if you want an older house, maybe you want to live in the North End in Boise, which is a walkable neighborhood, and you want an older house with a lot of character, like something from the 1900s, then that's available too. But if you're thinking, well, I really want a newer suburb house, maybe built in the last 5 years, that's available too. That's something that's really unique about the neighborhood, is that you have homes that were built during a historical period. You do have walkable areas. You have areas that are truly suburbia. You even have gated communities. There's actually some new gated communities that we'd like to talk to you about too if you're looking to live in a gated community with a swimming pool. There's one that even has a beach club in the works, so they'll have like a swimming area, and then they'll also have the beach area for the residents. I think that's really cool. A beach right there in your own community that you can walk to. Wow. If you're looking in the Legacy neighborhood, of course, you're going to have the executive golf course available to you. They've got pools there as well. Lakemore, they've got pools and gated communities. There's even some townhouses that can come on the market. So you have a lot of good options. And the point of this video is just to let you know, Boise has changed. I think a lot of it is for the better. The locals might not be ready for it. I think a lot of them know it's there. They know the change is happening, things are coming, and it's hard to go back to how things were. But yeah, so the point of this video was just to let you know, it's not some little farming area. Boise's not all about potatoes and fry sauce and steak fries and things like that. There's a lot going on there, and it really is a place for families, for individuals who are just getting started and they want to maybe build a life out there. There's a lot of good opportunity out there, and change can be good. So hopefully when you come out, you'll see if it's what you're expecting or if you're pleasantly surprised. Okay, now if you enjoy this video, of course, don't forget to click the like button, and please tap the little subscribe button and click the little bell, because I would love to have you notified every time I put out a new video all about Southern Idaho, Boise, the whole Treasure Valley. And if you are thinking of relocating to Boise, Idaho, make sure that you reach out to us. Again, you can send a text message, you can email us, you can call me on the phone, you can schedule a call below and pick the time that works for you. There's a link down below. Don't forget to look down in the description. The Moving to Boise team would love to help you. Now, if after listening to this video, you're thinking, oh, I want to live in a smaller town, and you want to live in northern Idaho, maybe you want to live up in Coeur d'Alene, you want to live up by the lake, no problem. Reach out to us as well, because we have people who can assist you, even if you want to move up to northern Idaho. Coeur d'Alene, by the way, really beautiful. If you look at photos of it, wow. I mean, in the winter, there's snow. So even though there could be snow in Boise, it's just very limited compared to what you see when you go north. All right, everybody. I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.